Hi there. So this is the last video, question 9. So question 9 really is now asking us, let's read the question very quickly, and then I'll let you sort of tackle this. And it's another nice question on marginal costing. Remember, we're thinking marginal costing here. We're trying our best to focus on the actual product itself. What's going on with the product itself? You can almost think Dragon's Den with this. With Dragon's Den, most of the time, if you notice, the dragons are always offering to cover the fixed costs of the person who's come into the den, the entrepreneur, because they're sort of saying that you have that skill to make this as efficiently as possible, and we'll try and open some doors for you to sell the thing, but we'll take these away because these are the issues. So it says you're working as an account assistant at City News and Books, a company which owns a group of blah 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 shops selling newspapers, magazines, books, and stationery. The accounting system has been set up to show costs and revenue for each of the 3 sections, and this is what you have. So these are the variable costs, and it tells you that they have apportioned. So, I mean, this thing, they've split these fixed costs, so they could be rental costs based on revenue. Now, you know that fixed costs do not vary with volume. So this is just merely some kind of guesstimate at best. They just don't vary with volume. There's no real relevance. There's no relationship between fixed costs and volume. None at all. But because we want to get a price, we still can sort of think about it as a total cost. Remember, I talked about total costs the other day. So it says now that one of the sections is making a loss, and you're asked to analyze this scenario and see what's going on, and then talk about it. Well, let's look at who's making a loss first of all, or who's technically making a loss. So what we have here is, let's look at newspapers and magazines. So newspapers are selling for 352, and what they have is a variable cost of 155 plus 65. That's the variable cost. Books, 243, and the variable cost, if you like, the revenue is 550, and the variable cost is 246 and 93. And stationery, if you like, the revenue is 198, and the variable cost is 122 and 58. So we can work out what the contribution is for each of these guys, and that's really what these guys are really making. Really, I mean, we just had to apportion and give each of them a fixed cost. I'm going to change the color of my pen. We had to sort of adapt and give each of them some kind of fixed cost, if you like. So we gave is that 80? I believe that's 80 to newspapers and magazines. We gave 125 to books, and we gave 45 to stationery. So what they really want you to discuss first of all is to say, look, guys, let's focus on contribution. Who is giving us, if you like, the greatest contribution per over revenue? Almost like a contribution margin ratio, like a contribution over revenue ratio. So what you want to do first is you want to sort of find what the contribution is. So let's just do it for newspapers. So for newspapers, the contribution is 352 minus this thing, 155 plus 62. So 352 minus 155 minus 65. So the contribution is 132. So the contribution divided by the revenue, which is like the contribution margin, you shouldn't be unusual. It's almost like a gross profit margin, right? So 132 divided by 352 is about 37.5%. So what you want to do is you want to find that for every single 37.5%. So you want to do that for every single one and see who's giving you the highest contribution ratio, first of all. Now we can clearly see that the problem seems to be with stationery, because by the time you deduct 122 and 58 and 45 from stationery, you're going to be making a loss. But what we want to ask is, let's first of all see what the contribution margin, if you like, the contribution that we're going to get from stationery divided by its revenue is. And then let's actually ask again, why are we dividing the fixed costs according to the revenue? Should we probably not be dividing it according to the costs? Or should we just look for a better way? Or should we not divide it at all that way? You see, because this means at least we can think about what it means to make a loss. Because the stationery is not really making a loss. Stationery is making a contribution. But unfortunately, because you've allocated 45, it looks as though it's making a loss. So that's what they really want you to talk about. To focus on the contribution, do the contribution margin, and it might surprise us. I haven't done it. Stationery might actually have a higher contribution ratio than books. Who knows? Maybe even than newspapers. So that should be a good defense for the people in stationery to defend their position and saying, listen, our contribution margin is actually quite good. You've just allocated too high a fixed cost to us. And maybe if we moved online, we could actually survive. So you start getting creative of how to eliminate these fixed costs. Okay, great stuff. So write that up as well and send it me. And that is the end of marginal costing. And it means that we can start focusing and reviewing our financial accounting. Great stuff. See you in the next video.